Greetings once again, heroes and villains out there. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with My Hero Academia. Last episode, it was essentially Izuku Midoriya versus Class 1A, as they desperately wanted Izuku to stop, take a minute, rest, trying to bring him back to UA so that he could just have at least a little bit of downtime. And although Izuku desperately fought against it because he didn't want to put his friends in danger, he was putting himself in danger by not doing so. And the fact that he wasn't willing to listen to anyone was actually proving their point from my perspective. It took a combined effort, including Ida grabbing a hold of Deku's hand to finally get him to stop and listen. But the real thing that broke through to him? Bakugo apologizing for years of abuse that would shake just about anyone to their core who knew Bakugo. And so, as the students of Class 1A were able to bring Deku back to UA, an unfavorable welcome was awaiting Deku, as some of the refugees caught wind that the person being chased by all for one was about to be harbored at their shelter, something they took issue with, understandably. But Uraraka's not giving up. Can the students manage to convince the people who have already lost so much faith in heroes to risk a little bit more uncertainty? Join me as I find out, won't you? I'm ready to cry. I'm ready to hurt. If Deku returned here, then what about the safety of all the evacuees? We'll figure out a way to make them understand. To prepare for the school's festival, we reinforced the UA barrier for our extra security but didn't end up using it. So now is our chance to see his true worth. It's fine. All Might grew up in this school too. Bring him back with your own hands. Principal Nezu, earlier you mentioned the UA barrier's true worth. We're here because we understand Midoriya's feelings. In order to bring him back here, we would need adequate evidence regarding the safety and peace of mind of those taking shelter here. That's why we're planning on going with him. Of course, this isn't just based on emotion. Midoriya is even now a valuable contributor to the hero's side. It's risky to protect them in anything less than a state-of-the-art facility. True, UA has been able to buy the country's latest defense technology at wholesale. It boasts the defense at the same level as Tartarus's. Considering what happened to Tartarus, I wouldn't really push that. But Shigaraki easily broke into Tartarus. Thank you, Yaoyorozu. Last year, UA was also broken into. I also kept my eye on the threat of Shigaraki. So when we reinforced the UA barrier, I also added my own personal improvement. It's like, yeah, before, it didn't have my personal touch. Is that even possible? There was a huge fight about it. Basically, if villains were trying to invade UA at this very minute, no harm would come to the evacuees or the students, and they would not even be able to get in. Right now, the UA barrier is not just a defensive wall. UA can move. Oh, that's the setup. I don't remember this line. Okay, nice. The grounds have been divided in a grid, and each part has its own driving mechanism. In the event of an emergency, each section can go underground and become a shelter, and the shelter can be moved in a linear maglev? Oh, maglev. Okay. I'm realizing I've never actually seen the word maglev spelled out. I've only ever heard it. Weird. Maglev network. Basically magnetic levitation. Everything just flies through very little frictions. So high-speed movement, baby. Moving as required along various routes. It's like a robot anime. But if that system breaks down, it's all for nothing. So underground near the system, there are 3,000 layer reinforced plates. If those detect anything abnormal, the interceptor system activates and supports unlock. And the defensive wall can also move independently and can delay any kind of attack. In the meantime, the shelters follow the safest route to places that have security systems on par with UA's, like Shiketsu Academy, which increases defense after the imposter incident, and other high schools with hero courses. Shiketsu, that's so far. UA in the east, Shiketsu in the west. Oh yeah, there's something like that. That looks like a countermeasure against Shigaraki's decay transmitting through objects. But at the time of the school festival, we didn't know about the ability yet, did we? There wasn't any evidence for it. It was just my gut feeling. That's why I paid for it myself. That must have been more than a few 100 million. Jeez. Seriously. Nezu's funds run so deep. The principal has contributed much to quirk morality education, and he is revered around the world. His efforts continue even now. Lack of understanding, intolerance. They both occur when people who can't take the extra step to get closer to each other act or move and crowd together. Taking extra step is a hard task. Anyway, it is reasonable and logical for him to be here. You kids should just go give it your all. Here comes the heartbreak. Don't let that boy in here. Shigaki will come. Wasn't you supposed to be guaranteed our safety and peace of mind? Don't let him in. Please leave. Doesn't having one for all make him a Nomu? Oof. That's dangerous. Hey, it's scary. If you're gonna fight, do it somewhere else. Oh boy. Oh yeah, Erie was hanging with the Class 1B kids. Are you trying to cover it up again like you did before? Yeah, are you? We won't be tricked again. You can convince them. Yeah, no. I'm not even the least bit surprised that things weren't able to go well, because it's just like, look, public sentiment has broken down. People are scared. People are afraid. People are on edge. People are defensive. Like, it would take literally seeing what Izuku had been doing for them to be convinced. But they know nothing. They don't know to put their faith in this kid. They don't know that this kid is their last greatest hope. He's just some kid that at most people might remember having broken his limb using his quirk during the sports festival. That's about it. It's still weird seeing 13 without her helmet. There were those who showed that they understood our thinking, but speculation leads to unease. Shigaraki's after a UA said, oh yeah, it's that one guy. What was his name? The freaky looking dude. Kind of a bit of a conspiracy theorist, and we couldn't erase it all. Everyone calm down. It must be hard for people to listen, especially when it comes from teachers. I'm the one who suggested it. Venus, we came here because we believed in what you said. Yes, as the principal explained, this is the safest place right now, and we are thinking of your lives first in order to make the first move. Our plan was to use Azoria Midokyu, Izuku Midoriya as bait to find the villain. However, we were unable to cast a wide enough search, and we had very little to show for it. While Izuku Midoriya is the target of the villain, he is also one of our most valuable assets. To wear him down more than this could be fatal. It's true that this isn't the best solution. It's just the next best thing we can do. We understand that there are those who feel uneasy about this, but we wish you to let him rest in the safest of places, in order for him to be ready to fight at any time we need him to stay as healthy and strong as possible. And the thing is, it's a short-term thing. Just let the kid rest. That's it. It's an unfortunate thing, but it's very much akin to how, hey, you stay near a military base, there's always the potential something could go down. But if something goes down, the best place to be usually would be a shelter in a military base, because they'd have the fortification to protect you. Not everyone would believe that, and that's not always the case, but there's a certain degree of logic to it, I'd think. What are you saying? Just because you guys messed up? In the first place, right now, Japan's become a lawless country, and now you're messed up again? So you're trying to shift the burden onto us? That's what you're saying? What the hell? Yeah, what the hell? Yeah. You call yourself heroes. Freaking having a panic attack. Give us a break. We just want to be able to sleep peacefully at night. It's no good. Yeah. Completely over their heads what Genus was trying to say. This unease is spreading. It'll explode. Shout it from the rooftops, girl. Alright. Have to prepare myself for this. Let's do it. I hope it's good. She was about to say Deku. Izuku Midoriya has a special power, and we're saying that a guy like that shouldn't come here just because he wants to rest. No, he's left this place because he didn't want to cause anyone trouble. We're the ones who brought him back. His power is, special. It's a power meant to defeat all for one. That's why they're after him. That's why he has to go. He left, but do you know what he looks like now? He's the one who most wants to do something about the situation. And he's walked down a path where he could be attacked at any time. Will you please look at him? Yeah, it's just like, you say all that. You say, get him out of here. Like, why should we have to help him? But look at him. Like, take one look, and you can tell that he's been through a lot. You really want to just push him back out after he's already been out fighting? Is that okay? Even if someone has a special power, that doesn't mean they're a special person. I feel like that's a bit counterintuitive to a certain degree. Like, that doesn't make him special. It's like, But from a certain point of view, please leave her to me. It's the boy who saved me. There's a system in place to protect these guys, but they're still uneasy. They'll clean up the mess you can't. Taking that extra step is a hard task. I think once someone is able to take that extra step, it will bring forth one who will become the greatest hero and even surpass All Might. A young woman's declaration. I will admit, I felt it was a little bit more powerful in the manga when I was just reading it in my head, but she raises a lot of good points. I like seeing people's happy faces. My parents always looked like they were tired, and that pained me. The first time I saw someone doing hero work, my eyes went to the faces of those around me. I like seeing everyone's happy faces. Yeah, she's not done yet. He's a mess. He looks weak, so he was fighting. Even after he saved me, he kept fighting. We looked at him, so what? Don't tell me you want us to get beat up like that too. You want us to be covered in mud too? Only the heroes will be covered in mud. Just give us some time to wash off the mud and dirt. Ashaka. Midoriya, right now Uraka is fighting. For the sake of everyone's smiles, including yours. Uraka. Can I reassure you all right now? Sorry, I can't. Because we're also uneasy. Because we're neighbors just like you all. Watching him desperately try to save people this whole time made me think, when a hero is suffering, when heroes are suffering, the ones who will protect them are surely Chaka. Where are you looking? The hero's over there. Hey, you boy. Thanks. Aw, the ones who will protect them are surely. So please, lend him your strength so that we can smile together in the future. Oh, she realized something. With all of your power. Please, will you let him rest beside you? Will you let him prepare? There we go. Izuku Midoriya is trying to take on the burden of his power, but he still has a lot to learn. He's just a normal high schooler. But, please, let this place, continue to be his Hero Academia. Oh hey, just one more step. For those who can't take that extra step to get closer to others. Wait, yep, those shoes. Hey, which shoes do you want? Those, definitely those. I want red shoes. This is the story of how I became the greatest hero. And the story of how everyone became the greatest hero. Oof. Yep, I take back what I said. Oh, that's what I needed. I needed that music to slowly swell and build. To hear the voice of Uraraka just vibrating with shake and unease but determination. Like, you needed someone to just break through the bullshit and be like, look, do not construe this. No matter what you say, there had to be a counter argument. And the teachers and the heroes kept backing down because it's just like, you failed. What are you doing? How dare you? How dare you think you can have this exception? Blah, blah, blah. But it's just like, but there's someone out here who is taking responsibility, who has been going through it. Now, this isn't an adult. This is a kid who has been trying to shoulder all of this. And he needs some time. He is the last best chance, and he needs a moment. Like, yeah, it's like, they're not saying that, no, that, we don't understand that this is incredibly dangerous to you and the people we have said we protect. That's not what's being said here. It is that we just need a moment. We've been trying. We haven't made any leeway. We need a moment. Like, look at that boy. Look at that boy. Are you telling me that he hasn't been trying with the way he looks? No, he has been trying constantly, and we need a moment. And I thought that was a good argument. I thought that was a good and very powerful argument. Took a pure outlook to help break through a lot of the criticism and condescension. Well played, well played. I love that his hero name is still just Shoto. What? It is. It shouldn't be us right now, right? Rebecca, sorry. I was too scared to move. Sorry. But that girl was trying to, it's so hard to talk, and I thought I had to go. I thought I had to be like you. That's why I came. So you don't have to cry anymore. It's okay, Kota. Such a big woman. You are a UA sin. A number of shelters turned me away, saying they couldn't let in heteromorphs in. In the end, UA said it was okay. But I'm lucky because that means I could see you again. Oh, thank you for what you did back then, primary hero. There you go. Before blaming him hysterically, can't we listen to what he has to say? It's not like the kids planning to stay here permanently. Right now, we're short on resources and personnel. So this is the only place you can rest up without worrying too much, right? That's what you heroes were trying to explain, right? Yeah, you can't go to Shiketsu if it's only at the same level, right? But then the same thing would happen at Shiketsu. I didn't realize until things ended up like this. I felt like I was in the audience and the heroes were performing on stage. One day, an Australian hero named All Might showed us what heroes were like. Everyone wanted to be like him. Everyone applauded him. And then before we knew it, we had forgotten the soul behind the man. But the stage has been taken away. With failure upon failure, there's no more no hope for money or fame anymore. Many of those who were called heroes have resigned. In the midst of that, what are those who are left fighting for? If we reject even those who are fighting now, then what will be left for us? How will we be able to live as we did before? I know it's tough, but think about this calmly. How long are we going to stay audience members? There it is. That was the argument I was waiting for. You gotta. It's funny too, because the one who was criticizing, one of the people who criticized it the most, is wearing an All Might t-shirt. That's the argument. It's just like, but what now? You see, we're criticizing people who, with the loss of everything, there's no fame, there's no money, there's no jubilation, there's nothing but jeers and criticism. And yet there are still people fighting. And then, what if we lose these people who are still fighting? What's left? What's left after that point? It was so easy before when it was almost like a performance. The hero would always come out on top and we cheer and go, yes, we were saved, thank goodness. But now it's gotten so much more real. It's affecting our lives so much more than before. And now seeing that, do you really want to keep living like this? Don't you want to take a chance on change, on something better? Yeah, it's easy to criticize something that's not knocking on your doorstep, ultimately. There were rumors about a young man in rags with multiple quirks. Some said he was stirring up the villains, and some said he was a true hero. Answer this. If you rest here, will things go back to the way they were before? I'll get it back, because everyone is here with me. We'll get it all back. There we go. Did you hear? Aravity's speech. You should try going in. Yeah. It took me a second to realize they were staying out there because, well, public sentiment for Endeavor isn't that great either. It's fine, for now at least. Yeah, Hawks too. In the end, we just made Deku suffer. No progress, we just made him take the roundabout way. There is progress right here. One for all is the crystallization of power spun together by people's hearts. All Might connected to Midoriya. Kase connected to Midoriya. Gravity connected everyone to Midoriya. And everyone. If they're all able to think about everyone just a little more, then that will bring about a bright future where everyone can't help but smile. The heroes have too much time on their hands. Dad, we're in this together. Oof, yeah. I couldn't do it, but your class did it for me. Aizawa, please. Tell the class rep that he did a good job. How's your leg? I won't be able to jump like Miriko. What about Kirigiri? I'm trying to talk to him every day, but unfortunately there's been no progress. After he responded to you and Mike calling out to him, he was secretly transported to Central Hospital for restoration research. The Nomu Kirigiri. Miriko crushed the copy of his quirk. If we hadn't been able to get Shimakumo's mind back at the time, we wouldn't have strongholds everywhere. It was fragile and faint, but we were able to spin a thread that allowed us to turn the tables. We're continuing with the countermeasures for Toga? Yes. We deduced the amount of blood she needs to ingest and her transformation time limit. Evacuees enter UA after being isolated for a certain period of time. UA is a stronghold. Now it's time to try again. Yes, of course. Where are you going? I'm going to check on those hero-hating groups that still refuse to evacuate. The Mighty-Mobile! I would love to think that that's from David Shield. You're gonna try to stop me to go, right? Then even if you don't want me to, I will too. That's why. You don't have to worry. Wait a minute. Oh, who's that? Dun-dun. That was good. I didn't get as emotional as I thought I would, but still got pretty emotional. I'm always glad this guy came back. The guy with the stars on his head is like, that was such a great callback. Just the idea of that man who first talked to Izuku all that time ago. It makes you wonder, does he remember Izuku? I don't know. I love the idea of Kota, who all that time ago was saved by Izuku, and the ordinary woman, as she's called, who was saved recently, coming to Izuku's defense. And something very beautiful about it all. It's some peak My Hero, honestly. And it's so easy to say to the civilians, it's like, well, if you don't like it, you can leave, bitch! But at the same time, it's all comments that people would say. That's the thing. There were comments that people would say. But the thing is, people online are assholes. Sorry. Like, when people can't see or be seen, there's that disconnect, and it's easy to be an asshole. But when you have to look someone in the face who has suffered and tell them, to hell with you, it's a little bit harder to do. Some people can go through with it and be like, I see what he looks like. Well, like that one dude just like, you want me to end up like that? Fuck that shit. And especially when more and more people start to kind of be like, like when people start to think a little bit more rationally, like when people get whipped up into a frenzy, oh god, like all it would have taken was somebody just throwing something and it would have been hard to stop some of them. Get enough people whipped up into a frenzy and knew they won't stop. But with enough people, I like that we had enough people speaking out whenever something was brought up. When someone yells something back at Uraka, she yells something right back, a countermeasure. When someone in the crowd said one thing, someone else in the crowd said another thing. It's just like that creeping thought. It's just like, oh, what about this? Well, honestly, if that happens, this could happen. It's just like, oh, you make a good point. And, having a member of the group speak out, though, a man with the stars on his head, that's the thing that really shifts it. Seeing others of their group come to the boy's aid because they recognize him. Having the one person be like, well, I heard about this person online who was going around saving people, helping out here and there. Is that his kid? It's like, it just takes that creeping sense of sympathy to turn things around. Creeping unease is one thing, but these people are also starved for something hopeful. So they got real lucky with this one. They got real lucky, but it was a good speech. It was a good speech. Man, that was like the high point for Uraka's voice actor. Like that. Like, I'm not saying Uraka doesn't have great moments after this, but man, this was it. This was it. And it wasn't just out of a sense of love for Deku, it's just out of a sense of sympathy. It's just like, no. Our heroes also need that support, because when they're beaten down, broken, and bloody, it is the support of the people who help rise them back up again. Who helps the heroes? The people. It is the people who motivate them and help keep them moving forward. It was good. It was a good episode. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What did you think of Uraka's speech? What side of things do you think it would be on? Me personally, living in a hero world, I think I'd probably be criticizing in the background, just desperate to get my home back. And I'd probably be volatile, honestly. The stress of the situation and being desperate, but there'd also be that thing of, dude, I just want things to go back to how they were. I want to go home. I want to sleep in my own bed. Like, a lot has been ended for people in a short period of time. Like, can this kid really make a difference? Like, once you put that out there, it's just like, this is the only shot we have at maybe turning things around. It's like, this is the shot we have at me sleeping in my own bed. Let's do it. I mean, shit, we let things continue on as they are. They're probably gonna come here anyway, so do what you gotta do. But what about you? Also remember to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next video. We are running down this My Hero season. One more episode to go. And then, next season, the final showdown. So don't miss out. See you later. Take care. Bye-bye.